Having the ability to walk away from any situation. Do you care more about your dignity, or do you care more about the money? So I was just on a job. If you don't know what I do, I have a business that I run, and it's a pretty chill gig, but sometimes I have clients that are, we call these like nightmare clients, and you could be doing nothing wrong, you could be doing everything right, but these people are just, there's something off about them. Maybe they're just rude, they're just not very respectful, and you end up, you have to deal with these clients sometimes. It happens. Like, no matter what kind of business you have, no matter what kind of job you have, if you have to deal with the general public, you're just gonna run into certain people that are just complete pricks. And even if you're completely respectful, if you've ever worked like a fast food job, retail job, you ever worked a job where you had to talk with customers, you know exactly what I'm talking about. The problem is, when you work these jobs, is that usually you just have to keep a smile on. You can't just tell a client sometimes that, sorry, I'm not going to serve you because you work for someone else. Part of the good thing about having a business and working for yourself is that you have the ability to walk away from people that are disrespectful. So what happened was, if you don't know what my business is, I have an RV detailing business, right? I have an RV detailing business, so like car detailing, but for RVs, boats, all sorts of gigantic industrial vehicles. I use chemicals and like water purification systems in order to wash these vehicles and make them look spotless, to make them look amazing, right? Because these vehicles get dirty, they have to be pressure washed, they have to be cleaned, they have to be scrubbed, the dirt has to be removed, they have to be waxed, the glass has to be cleaned, etc. So that's what I do. I have a detailing business for large vehicles. That's my niche. And I make pretty good money. I make hundreds of dollars each job. I can work for like 4 hours and make like $500. My average hourly that I make is about $100 an hour. So it's a pretty good business model. But sometimes I get clients that are just complete pricks, So this guy, I pulled up to his RV. I'm setting up, I'm getting ready to clean it. And these nightmare clients that you get, there's red flags. Like, already right off the bat, this dude was his energy was a little rude. His energy was just a little rude. He didn't seem as nice as like the average person I deal with. The average person I deal with is typically really nice. They're very, respectful, and they ask you questions, and they ask you if they need you to need to do anything before you get started. This guy was just more he wasn't very talkative, and he was wondering why I was by myself. He almost seemed like angry that I didn't have someone with me. And I told him, I was like, oh, well, I just work by myself most of the time because, I just like working by myself, right? And so he didn't say anything. So I'm setting up, and this guy, before he booked the job, also, these nightmare clients, 90% of the time, they're the kind of people looking for bargains, discounts. They're trying to get a deal. They're trying to haggle with you. And it's weird, the hagglers are typically the people that give you the most problems. They complain. They want perfection. They want everything perfect. And this goes in every industry. The people trying to use coupons and stuff at restaurants that are trying to get the cheapest food. They're expecting everything to be fresh and everything to be perfect and fast. Whereas the people that aren't afraid to spend money, I've noticed the people that are not trying to get the bargains, the discounts, they're just happy with the price. They never complain. They never complain. They never like try to pressure you into doing like extra. They just pay for the service and they let you do your job, and that's it. And they don't say anything. Well, yeah, this guy was already getting all sorts of bargains, you know, haggling with me. And sometimes I haggle with people and I'll try to work with them. So this guy, I was already having a bad feeling, you know, his, I don't know, just the whole job. It was just a pain in the butt. There wasn't much room. You know, he was getting like a pretty like good deal, a good price. And I was almost thinking like, yo, this isn't even worth it. Like, I could go do someone else's for so much more money. And this guy, you know, beat me down to a price where I don't even really feel like me doing this is worth my time, if that makes sense. So I went ahead and I just went anyways. And so yeah, and then he asked me, he was like, oh, don't use that soap. So yeah, I have to use like a soap, like some sort of you know, surfactant to clean these vehicles. He was like, don't use that soap, don't use that soap. Now he's saying that the soap I'm using is not like the right soap. And he was basically gave me like a special soap. He handed me like this special type of soap. And he was telling me, can you use this? Like, and I have no problem with that. I was like, yeah, man, like, you know, I'll use the soap. But that was another red flag when they want you to do like extra weird stuff. And he's saying, like, asking me to do all these like little extra things. And I'm like, yeah, man, like, no problem, I'll do that. So yeah, these people that want the bargains, they also try to get you to do a bunch of extra stuff, which sucks. You know, that's how it is. They try to squeeze you out of every dollar. And they try to get you to do as much as possible before you leave. And they try to, oh man, can you just do this real quick? Like, do something that you're not even like being paid to do, which sucks because they kind of get angry when you tell them like it's going to be extra. Or if, you know, that you say that you can't do it, they get like passive aggressive about it. So yeah, I kind of knew this was like, okay, this guy wants a special soap. He was already beating me down on the price. He's acting weird. So I start cleaning his RV. I scrub it, I rinse it, and I have a special system. I have a water purification system. I can clean vehicles with completely spotless water. If you don't know what this is, search up spotless water. And basically it's these special filters. Window cleaning companies use them. Auto detailing businesses use them. These spotless water filters basically allow you to wash things out in the open without leaving any streaks or water spots. Well, I started washing this guy's RV and I had my whole system hooked up. It makes my job easy, right? So I can wash it by myself and just let it dry and it looks perfect. He comes out and he was like, you're not gonna dry off that water? And I told him, I was like, hey, well, that's the science. I have this spotless water system that allows me to wash it and I can just let the water dry on its own and there's no streaks or water spots. And this dude didn't understand how spotless water worked. So he ended up giving me like this passive aggressive attitude, and he was like, well, I thought that, you know, there was a hand dry, you know, the last people I had came out here, they dried it by hand and it looked great. Well, you know, I told the dude, I was like, hey, well, you know, this is just more advanced equipment. It just makes the job easier. Basically, he was almost getting angry that I wasn't putting in the extra effort. I had the correct equipment to where I can make the job super easy and still get the same results as like the traditional method. And I don't know, he was just, well, if I knew that you were just gonna scrub it and rinse it off, you know, for $300, I would have just done it myself. And like I said, this guy doesn't understand how spotless water works. He thinks I'm just spraying his RV down with water. You know, the resin costs money. I have to hook it up. I have to, you know, the equipment costs money, everything. I have to haul my own water. It's a whole system. It's a whole science to get that perfect water, to get that perfect finish. I have it down to a T. Well, yeah, this dude was angry about it. he wasn't very happy, and he was like, "You're just scrubbing and rinsing it off." Well, I push on with the job, and yeah, he's acting really passive aggressive and weird. And I'm just kind of like, man, you know, this is turning into a nightmare job. He comes back out. I'm done with like the front of his RV, and he tells me, "Hey man, there's water spots all over it." There wasn't. I checked the water. I tested the water. I test the water on each job. The water is completely pure. I changed the filters. And I told him, he told me to look at the front of the RV, and he was like, "You don't see thousands of water spots? You don't see that?" And I had no better answer, right? I knew this was gonna make him mad, but what am I supposed to do? Just lie and gaslight myself and agree with him? I looked at him, I was like, "Dude, there's no water spots on it. Like, what do you mean?" Like, I'm looking directly at it and there's no, like, it's completely clean. Like, I even take a picture or video for evidence in case he tries to use it against me. And he was like, "You don't see all those? You don't see all those specks, the water spots?" I'm like looking up at it like this. I'm like, "Dude, there's no water spots. Like, what's the problem?" And where I'm getting at is, he was mad that I wouldn't hand dry the RV, that I wasn't drying it with a towel. And his own brain tricked him into, like, there wasn't any water spots. Like, I checked the water. I have a water filtration system. I do this for a living. I do thousands of these vehicles every single day. Every day. I do this literally every day. And it's crazy. Some people, like some clients, like I was just like pointing at it like, "Dude, there's nothing on there. Like, what do you want me to say?" And so he gets really upset, and he was like, "You said that, you know, you should have said that there was no hand dry. You should have told me this." And that's where these guys get mad. They try to say, "Oh, it should be like this." They have all these expectations in their head. They think, "Oh, I'm paying this guy a lot of money. I need to see him bust his ass and like slave away and do this job." I've heard about this in other industries, like pressure washing people that like pressure wash someone's house real fast. They have like good equipment, and people will like refuse to pay because they're like mad that they did it really fast, because they have the correct equipment, the correct chemicals, because they're not spending all day out there. Basically, these people, they spend money and like, yeah, they try to save money. And if they see that you're able to do the job quickly and easily, they don't like that. They get upset. So, you know what I did? He told me, "It's fine. I'm gonna pay you. Just finish it. You know, just clean it up. Just get out of here." And this is the point where I just called it quits, even though I cleaned like a portion of his RV. Even though I probably could have charged him a little bit. I was there for like a couple hours at that point. I told him, I was like, "Look, man, if you don't like it, if it's not what you expected, you know, I honestly don't feel comfortable being here any longer." I told him, "I'm gonna pack up my stuff, I'm leaving." And this guy's trying to get me to continue the job. And I told him, I was like, "Dude, you're not happy with it. You're bringing up more and more stuff. You're getting more and more aggressive. Like, I just don't feel comfortable continuing. Like, I don't want to be liable if you're gonna like complain. I'm not gonna like play this game." Because I've done this before. When you cave in and you just continue, when they pay you, these people that are trying to save every dollar, they have like buyer's remorse. They try to like make like credit card disputes and stuff. They'll pay you with their card, and then they'll tell the company that like you didn't do the job right, or they'll like refuse to pay you at the end of the job. They'll try all sorts of weird tactics. They'll go on your Google page and like run their mouth and say, "Oh, he charged me $300 and he did a shit job. You know, $300 for a wash." And I know I'm kind of ranting, but he was really upset when I told him I was leaving. And this is the lesson of this video. Don't be afraid. I could have taken the money. I could have risked it and been like, "You know what? I showed up at this guy's house. I like spent like an hour driving here. I pulled out all my equipment. I spent money on like the chemicals, the water. I wasted my entire like morning, like dealing with this guy, being out in the sun, work, like busting my ass. But you know what? Instead, you know, I told him, I was like, look, dude, I don't want your money. Like, if you're not happy with the work, like, I'm not gonna sit here. I'm not gonna continue. Like, I told you there's no water spots. You can literally look at it right here. And you know what's funny is I told the guy, I was like, look, man, I have a water tester right here. I have a tool that I can use called a, if you don't know what this is a device called a TDS meter. A TDS meter basically can measure the impurities in the water. It'll tell you how many like parts per million are like of minerals are in the water. And this is how you test spotless water. So if I had distilled water and I dipped this in a bottle of distilled water, it would read 000 because distilled water is completely pure. There's no minerals, there's no salt, there's no nothing. If you wash your car with distilled water, essentially you will not have any water spots or streaks. It'll look completely perfect, like it just came out of the factory. If you test the water, if you test the tap water with this, you will get some crazy readings. It'll read like 300 parts per million, 400 parts per million. So like right in front of him, I told him, I showed him, I tested the water. I was like, look, dude, the water's completely pure. It's 0 parts per million. You cannot tell me that there's water spots in your RV, because I literally tested it right here. You put the water in this cap, boom, you test it, you calibrate it. But this guy literally, it's crazy. People get so angry, and some of these clients just, he was just mad I wasn't drying it with a towel. At the end of the day, he was mad. He was like, he expected me to wash it and dry it with a towel, dry it by hand, the old-fashioned way, where that, if you don't have spotless water, that's how you do it. That's the old-fashioned way, right? You wash your car in your front yard, you spray it off, you soap it, and then you dry it with a towel before the water dries. Because if the water dries, that's when it leaves all those impurities on your car. So he wanted me to do that, but since I have this method that bypasses that, he was pissed. And I knew, yo, sometimes you get a client when you're in business that you just have bad. I knew from the second I met him that he was going to be a problem, which is crazy. I knew the second I saw it, like the first interaction, I got bad vibes from him. And yeah, you can pick up on people's energy. It really is true. You can pick up on people's energy and their vibes. Like, and he was upset because it wasn't, he was also upset that, so I have a business partner that's done his RV before, right? That did do the towel drying method. And my business partner is like the one that's serviced this guy's RV. It's the same company. It's the exact same company, of course. But he was also upset that it wasn't the same person showing up. And he was like, where's the other guy? Where's the other two? Where's the other two people that cleaned my RV last? I told him, I was like, oh, well, that's my coworkers. You know, I'm here to clean your RV today. And yeah, he was also mad about that. He was like, is this the same company? Like, where's the guy with the blue Ford Ranger? And you know, I told him, I was like, I mean, it's the same business. Like, I don't know, just a little lesson for you guys. Walk away if the client's being disrespectful. I didn't want to take his money and endure more of his shit talking. I've done it many times, and it honestly feels real good. That's why I say, like, start your own business, guys. Start your own enterprise, because you have the ability to walk away. You have the ability, when someone's cussing you out in your face, you can be like, you know what? Like, no, I'm not working for you. Like, we're done. I refuse to do any, like, I'm not gonna work for someone who's disrespectful, who's cussing me out, even if they're paying me, right? I care more about my dignity than the money. And obviously I do care a lot about money. I want to get that money, even if someone's kind of acting a little weird, as long as they're being respectful about it. I can get, you know, some people just have a personality that, you know, maybe they're like a little quiet, but I'm not gonna, you know, guys, whenever you're being disrespected like that, be ready to just grab your stuff, pack up, walk away, and be a man and accept the loss. I took a loss on that job, right? I didn't make any money, but hey, at least that guy can't say I took his money and that I ripped him off, because that's what these guys do. They'll go on Facebook, they'll say, oh, this guy charged me all this money and he did a piss poor job, false advertising, blah, blah, blah. And that's why he was trying to pay me, guys. Like, I'm not falling for that trap. I've been there, done that. I'm not gonna fall for that trap. If he says anything, if he tries to use it against me, I can say, look, I told the guy, hey, it's completely free. I'm not charging you anything. And I was respectful about it when I left. Remember that too. Don't just cuss the guy out. I told him, look, I respect your right that the service isn't what you thought. I'm not going to charge you anything. I'm just simply going to pack up my stuff and I'm going to go home or off to the next job. And it is what it is. I packed up my stuff. It was real awkward. He was out there. He started cleaning his own RV. He started spraying it with his water hose, cleaning it super fast, acting like, oh, look, I can do it too. I just ignored him. I packed up my stuff and I left. So now I'm about to go do another RV. Literally, I had another guy lined up. I just called him. About to go make like $500. So yeah, have the ability to walk away, fellas. It'll make you feel a lot better. Take control of your life. And book a one-on-one call with me down below if you need advice starting a business, if you want to make more money, if you want to improve your relationships, if you need to get yourself out of the rut. We've all been into a rut. I am pretty good at breaking out of ruts, so if you need help with that, book a call with me, guys. All right, peace.